This is the 40th anniversary of the Mitty, and the Mitty is a vintage race which started obviously 40 years ago, but it is the longest running vintage event on the east coast of America. The original people who started it are Howard Turner and Steve Simpson.
I'm Howard Turner, and I started this event, the Walter Mitty Challenge, about 40 years ago. And from a group of 40 cars, it's grown to what we see today, which is significant. We're members of the Atlanta Jaguar Society, and Steve Simpson and I were sitting in one meeting, and we were frustrated because we both had E-types. We like to drive them fast, and there was a little problem about tickets on speeding tickets and that sort of thing. So we said, why don't we go up to Road Atlanta and see if we can rent the track? So we came up, and we invited the Aston Martin group and the Ferrari Club to come with us, and there were a number of race cars that they brought up. A very small start with 40 cars, and it moved up and up and up until we had more than 400 cars sometimes, entries. So over the years we expanded the group to become actually a sanctioning organization all over the U.S.
Howard's wife said to him one day, "You're just a bunch of Walter Mittys. You know, you're just trying to pretend to be someone you're not." And that's how the Walter Mitty started.
It was originally the Walter Mitty Challenge. And you know, Walter Mitty being a fictional character that sat behind the desk, that always wanted to be flying airplanes and climbing the mountain and racing cars and all of those things. And so, you know, that part of the Walter Mitty Challenge was just eventually shortened to the Mitty. And it's where, you know, a lot of people would come out, and for the weekend they were the hero. They were the daring race car driver, you know, barreling over the hill and into the sunset and shifting gears. So 40 years later, it's still the Mitty, and there are quite a few people that we saw this weekend that have been here, you know, for almost all of them.
My priority is the competitors. I want to make sure they have a great race weekend, plenty of track time, good clean racing in a safe environment. And I also want to put on a good show for the spectators, which I think we achieved this weekend. The races yesterday afternoon were first rate. I mean, every race was no yellow flags, just phenomenal racing.
Here at Road Atlanta, when you think of the cars that are here, you look out and you see current, you know, fairly modern prototypes and modern GT cars. 40 years ago, the technology, you couldn't even imagine that. So over that 40-year period that we celebrate here at the Mitty, the technology has changed so much, and to see the cars now that are racing the, you know, last year, basically the last generation of GT cars and prototype cars to be racing here is spectacular.
I think we're very proud of what has developed here. The Mitty's a great event, and it's become huge. It's really the best vintage racing event on the east coast of the United States. I feel like the Mitty is my child in a way, and so I enjoy very much watching it progress as it is, and it's obviously going on to bigger and better things. And so we now have English management, so who knows?
We've got our competitors and cars lining up for the first race of the afternoon.